Welcome guys. I've been asked to do a game review about this subsistence game that I've found. So I thought I might give this a crack and upload it. Okay, first of all, first things you need to do, this is an early beta game. Very early beta, it's only been released in the last couple of months from what I'm aware. How do we do this? It's a solo survival game. Okay, so there is a multiplayer game coming in the near future, but it's not available as of yet. With the solo game, you've got 3 difficulty settings, which is pretty standard for most games these days that are solo player. Easy, it's pretty self-explanatory. Normal, if you want to play a normal, and hardcore makes things a lot difficult. I chose to go start my game with a normal profile. I also enabled hunters. You can disable the hunters, but I feel like they add a bit more fun to the game. The fact that you can deactivate them in the game is something I've come to believe is probably something good if you're new to the survival games and you want to get into them for future reference with other survival games out there, and there are plenty of them. Alright, continue from last save. Let's see how this goes. Can't remember where I last left this game off. Okay, I did leave it in half decent standings. Right. Crafting, building, all the rest of it. There is a fair bit of things you can do in this game. One of the best things I like about this game is the state of the graphics. I reckon the graphics are pretty decent. Things you'll learn about this game is the rendering is great. Like, I can spot resources that I can pick up in the game at quite good distances. Like, okay, here's some scrap metal. I've seen that from my house. I knew it was there. Run towards it. Other things you'll pick up. The bushes, etc., aren't destructible. They are cosmetic. I would like to think that the bushes and stuff can be pulled apart a bit more in this game. At this stage, it's not the case. I'm not doing a pros and cons as per se. I'm more doing a things I like and things I'd hope they implement in this game sort of feature. Like at the moment, I'm starving because I've only just started this game. Started back from my previous save. Take all my items from a supply drop. I think the supply drops are quite a cool feature, and you can spot them from quite good distances, which once again is quite handy with the rendering. As you can see, the flashing when you know there's something wrong with you is another feature that's quite cool. I'm malnourished, so I am losing health at the moment. As it's an early beta, there isn't really a lot to do in this game except survive, and hope you can survive as long as possible. It's hard as, like, I'm malnourished, I have no protein. Protein's kind of a challenge to get in this game. I find it's something I think needs to be tweaked a bit, as it's quite a challenge to sustain the 2 types of food. Oh yes, that's the other thing. There are 2 types of food. You can't just survive in this game on one type of food. You need proteins and fruit or vegetables to survive. Quite a cool feature, but is going to become quite annoying, I feel, as both food sources are quite a challenge to find. Now, removable resources. You've got an axe. So you start with an axe. You start with a pistol. Quite handy until you realise the pistol was pretty bad at taking out the wildlife you run into. The other feature I don't like. I just harvested everything I could from this tree. Tree didn't fall down, so you've got to remember what trees you're harvesting, because they don't fall down and respawn at a later date. Now, removable bushes. I did have one available nearby. Here we go. The little twig in between the bush here. Oh look, I picked up blueberries. Yay. Until you check your stash and realise you got 1 blueberry. Now, considering how hard food is to come by in this game, early on you're going to find it really hard to survive for a long period of time. Here's another bush. I got some fibres. Same principle. You get 1 fibre. I can see why it would add the longevity to the game, as there's not a lot to do at the moment, but collecting resources and getting just 1 item or 2 items from each available resource it makes things a lot more challenging, and I don't think it's going to help a lot of new sort of players get the feel for the game that they would like. There's a refinery. Uses power. Your base uses X amount of power as required. You can build items from your base if you have the required materials to do so. I'm really just doing this on the fly because I didn't really think this through as well as I probably should have. Planter boxes are quite cool. You can have lots of different things growing at once. You've got to remember to add fertilizer. At the moment, the only fertilizer I have is ash from a fireplace that I'm trying to keep constantly lit. All in all, I think this is quite a good game with really good potential. I'm just hoping they implement a lot of things quickly as to keep a player base going, and the multiplayer side of things could make things really interesting. The map's not overly huge, but in a solo player that's fine. In multiplayer, I hope the map expands something significant. It's like, I pissed off this bear. He's coming at me. Let's go test this out. You see what I mean? Ah, go away, bear. The only gun I own currently is a pistol. Now, I do have some ammunition for it, but not a lot. I've got 16 rounds. Can I kill this bear? That was 7 rounds. 8 rounds to kill a level 1 bear. Now, to harvest the animal, something I didn't learn straight away, which I wish I had, you need to crouch. See to crouch. Take all resources. I got 2 pieces of meat and some, well, it's a hide of sorts. The cooking process is a little bit more different to most other survival. Oh no, I got 1 type of meat and some fat that I can render into a biofuel at a later stage. Liver. High amount of protein from it, so it is good to get. You want to watch the cooking though. You can't just cook it and it'll be cooked once it's done. Like Ark Survival, for instance, you cook some meat. Once it's cooked, it'll just sit there in the fire. You leave this too long, it'll overcook. Once it's overcooked, you actually lose some of its nutritional value. And as the proteins and stuff are quite hard to come by, you sort of learn pretty quickly that you need to sit there and sort of watch your meat cooking. Like right now, it's just changed, if you can see on the screen. Slightly cooked, needs more cooking, but as you can see the stats next to it, adds 2 to fruit and veg, 20 to hunger, 24 to protein. Not bad. It can go a bit further. We'll give it another 20 seconds or so and it'll be fully cooked. Leave it any longer than that and it'll start to overcook. Once it's overcooked, it drops back to very, very low. You might as well eat the stuff raw and save the time. So we'll just sit here and wait because I do need to build my nutrition up again because I'm constantly struggling to survive. There we go. Cooked liver, packed with nutrition and protein. Pretty sure that's as cooked as it'll get, so we'll take that out now. Leave the fire going. The reason I leave the fire going, you need fire kits to keep it going. And as resources are really hard to come by, which is something I am struggling in with this game, like this house that I have built here, it's pretty basic, 2x2, nothing flash, got a bed so I can respawn on, generator so I can power as required, storage box, refinery, nothing mash. It took me almost 8 hours of gameplay to get built and I've only just started playing this game myself, so it did take me probably a bit longer than it needed to, but it takes a while. Oh, I need to consume my meat, so I'll eat that. Stop that malnourished bar coming up. Beds. Now this is something, once you learn the game, buy spawns. And as you can see, my power bar just dropped. It takes 400 out of the 500 available power just to buy 1 spawn. That builds up at a slow rate over time, which is fine. Generally, every time I log in, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a static server, so once I log out, nothing happens, but log in, start that up, and away I go again. Build your spawns as required if you're not trying to save some energy to build other base buildings, because you want to try to get a stack of spawns going. But as I was saying, the thing I dislike a bit is getting protein and stuff early in the game, even food early on in the game. I find it's actually just easier just to, once you get your small base built, or some sort of base complex built, just let yourself die. It's not worth the hassle of trying to fight just to survive at the start. It's easier just to die a few times. Once you've got a storage box, dump everything into the storage box, let yourself die, respawn on a bed. Because at night time you will die a lot. It gets really cold, especially where I've built in this map. It's going dark now. When you build your first base, when you first start building, you need to build a foundation, you need to build a wall, and to build after that, you need to get enough resources together to build a, what do you call this thing? Base command unit. To build the base command unit, you need to find 6 scrap metal, 4 electronic components, and build 4 wooden planks. Now, the wooden planks come from building using just everyday wood. You get 2 wood together, so you go up to a tree, hack it up a couple of times, wait for the clicker to click over. There we go, there's a couple. Click your wood, go into the house unit, no, hammer unit, wooden plank, 2 wood, done. Finding everything else is a matter of running around and just looking. Takes a bit of time, but it takes a lot of time. You do learn to notice that things render in real easy, and that removable, I'm going to call them removable plants. There's one for medicinal herbs, there's one for fiber, there's one for berries. You'll start noticing that they actually render in quite easy. Like, I'm pretty sure I just spotted one in the distance there. So you learn to have an eye for the removables. There we go, yep. Right in the middle of the screen, all the way back, I found it. You can see animals floating around, all the rest of it. Temperature is starting to drop, so this is probably where I'm going to wrap this up, get back to my house, and try not to die on the way there. There are ores that are acquirable in the game that you can hack up once you build a pickaxe. I leave the pickaxe in the base because I don't have a real big need for the ores at the moment, so I tend to just stick away from it. I did harvest a few earlier on when I first started playing, but realised that it wasn't something I was needing at the time. The ores go into, you simply pick an item. I can't do it here because I don't have any available. Click a raw ore, put it underneath the laser, turn it on when you got a refinery, and over time it will slowly draw the power from your base unit, but it will give you things like potassium, iron ore, and copper fragments. Pretty self-explanatory. Biofuels, you need biofuel to run a generator. It's probably good to have more than one storage box, especially early on when you're like me. Mine's normally pretty full. Put everything where it needs to go. Just to keep a sort of supply going. Building ammo. This is why I find it hard to get the protein. I mean, to build ammo. Oh, I started with a pistol. I actually originally lost my pistol. Okay, here we go. I have 9 shell casings and 35 gunpowder. How many of these can I craft? 8. 8 bullets. That took me a good day's worth of scavenging just to find that, and until you get something like... Where are we? Oh, it's not even in the right screen. Until you get to the likes of here, in your base items over here on the left, build lights, wood burners, refineries, beds, power storage, mass storage. Mass is another thing, you need to build that up over time. Workbench. You need a workbench, which you also need 750 power for, so to get that, I assume I need at least 1 power storage to have more than 500 power. Workbench will then, as far as I'm aware, yet crafting ammo, so I should be able to build shell casings with scrap metal, etc. I haven't got that far yet, but getting there. All in all, there's no level up system in this game, which is different. I'm used to a sort of a level up system in most games I play. I don't mind that. I think it's quite unique to the type of game it is. There's a as you build up your base, you unlock more items. As you unlock the more items, that's sort of the level up system in a sense, because once you get the base command unit, then you go, okay, now I can build this, I can build that. Once you build that, then you can build something else. You originally can build, however, storage crates, all the base requirements you want: roofs, ceilings, stairs, walls. It's only one type of tier in this game. It's all wood It's all wooden stuff or metal handrails for around your base. There's no defensive structures as such. Same with utilities, I guess. Fire starting kit, as I said, you need to build them to keep a fire going. Campfire. Cordage is a type of rope. Planks, sticks, padded cloth, glow sticks, but you start with one of them every time you die. Weapons in the game and or harvesting equipment: pickaxe, steel hand axe, hunting bow, pistol, shotgun and rifle. Hunters generally have a rifle, so they really hurt. Same with the ammo, you can build all the ammo, you can build yourself medical packs, adrenaline packs for when you run out of stamina, which I always tend to run out of, biofuels, which you need medicinal herbs for, and clothing. There's three levels of the same clothing for your shirt, pants, and then there's a type of boots. At this stage, that's all there is, but they all add as the levels increase. You get a few more hit points, and you get a better protection from the cold weather, which is quite handy, because it does get bloody cold. And it's still really cold outside, so I'll stay inside. Depending on how long, I don't want this video to take too long, but we'll see how things go. Alright. What else is there to tell you about the game? Probably not a lot, other than the crafting side of things. I do enjoy it. I think the building side of things is quite clever. People that are making this game have done quite a good job on the crafting side of things. They've got it right. I feel they've got it right. Other games I've played, the foundations don't place properly, and you get a lot of issues with walls not being unified, and I let my fire go out, so I am screwed. Whoops. I'm going to probably die before this night ends now, because it is too cold. There's no insulation in the base. Something else I don't really like. You should get a bit of temperature protection from having a house built, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. The hunters, I was going to show the hunters, but I'm too far away from them now. Hunters hurt. Don't get too close to a hunter base. They will kill you, and they do not stop chasing you until you die. Unlike the animals, who will stop chasing you once you get a certain distance away, which is quite handy, especially early on. You get too close to an animal, just run from it. It should stop chasing you after a certain amount of time, it'll help you survive. Don't build high like I have. It seems to be the higher you build, the colder it gets quicker. Too cold, you die all the time. Anyway, this is Skidline and Raging Kiwi Gaming. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy. Any feedback appreciated anyway.